How about the Mets, huh? Wow. I didn't want to rub it into the Met fans, douchey Met fans. But I always say that. No, and I could have. I went easy on them. I felt bad for them because I saw.
Well, Buck too, though. You got to have a nice soft spot for Buck.
I feel bad for Buck, man. I thought maybe this might be Buck's chance. I thought the Mets were ready, but they imploded at the end and they never recovered. They never. When the switch turns, you could see it happening.
Now I know this. I know you're one of the most superstitious guys out there. When they brought the Timmy Trumpet guy in person to play the trumpet,
but the Mets are corny. They do that kind of stuff. That's why they're the Mets. You have to understand. I'm from Queens. They are the Mets for a reason. They're not the Yankees, and they do dumb. Meet the Mets. Greet. Listen to them. They're a Met fan. You look at them. They're Bush League. They really are.
This one right behind you.
I'm sorry, but I grew up fighting, arguing in the street with Met fans, and they're always going to be the Mets. Not that I hate them, but
it sounds like you do.
No, I don't. They're just corny. WOR, and my first game was a Met game, 72. I think I went to a Met game.
How did you know? But why didn't you? If you grow up
I
in
went to a
Queens?
Yankee game with the Boy Scouts of America in 73.
Yeah.
I don't know, Rich. Something happened. I walked in the stadium and. I had I fell in love. I don't know. I said, this is it. And my friend was Puerto Rican and started taking me to the Bronx. And I was like, I'm in love. They had Bobby Mercer. They weren't even that good yet.
That was 70s. About to say 73 is when the Mets were actually good.
The Mets.
Yogi was the manager.
They went to the World Series.
Yeah, and they lost to Reggie.
They lost in 7 games. They were up against Oakland.
I know that.
They
were actually good. So, because my brother was a Jet fan and a Met fan. So I rooted for the Jets. And then I just saw the Mets too. And even though Pat Zachary came to my camp once and signed, I had his autographed Pat Zachary glove. I just I can't root for that team. And then
wasn't he involved in the Seaver trade?
He was involved in the Seaver trade.
Who was the other guy? Steve Henderson.
Oh my God.
Steve Henderson. Pat Zachary. Doug Flynn?
That's it, man.
Was that the trade?
It's
weird. I don't remember nothing in my life, and I can remember baseball crap.
But then Catfish showed up. Reggie showed up.
Dan Norman also in the trade.
Dan Norman,
lefty, right? Yeah.
You asked me before who my favorite Yankee of all time is.
Yeah, who is that? You have a clear-cut one?
I don't. I know who they are. You have 2.
I would say one for sure.
I have 2.
He has 2. Don Mattingly and Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, Reggie's my boyhood, right? When I'm 7, 8, falling in love with the sport, watching Chris Chambliss go around the bases and everybody spilling out of the stands in 76.
Right.
And then Reggie showing up to stir the drink. And then they won in 77. I was 8 years old at the time.
You were 8 years old?
Yeah, man. And so I fell in love. And then I remember in the 81 World Series when the Yankees lost to the Dodgers and Reggie was going to go, I cried myself to sleep that night that Reggie was leaving the Yankees. And then Mattingly showed up.
Yeah. And he was and
Mattingly's my daughter's middle name is Mattingly.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Donnie Baseball.
That's it. And just seeing him, homer against the Mariners in that 95 series.
He had a leg kick going. And he looked like the old Mattingly in that series.
Right. He homered. And, Gary Thorne with that famous call of it on the Baseball Network where he's like, there it goes. He goes, let's hang on to your hats. Here it is. He goes, here it goes. And he homered, and it was just like his playoff moment that we had never seen before. And it was amazing. And then, of course, he departs and Tino shows up and they win them all. And it's
he never got to wreak anything. Kind of like Mercer in a way. Mercer never.
Right.
Mercer was a loved Yankee, and he didn't get to enjoy it. And then they brought him back, and he bunted in the World Series into a double play. It was like he had the Maloiki on him or something. I don't know.